Throughout the last century, the the music industry has changed face thanks to the advent of recorded media. The music industry now focuses on recorded songs rather than the live show, and it has developed into three different groups of people with, focusing on their own self-interest. The three groups of people are the musicians, people who make the music, perform it, produce it. There's the consumers, the people who listen, go to the shows, and buys music. And then there's the record labels who bring music from the musicians to the consumer themselves. There's two types of record labels. There's independent, also known as indie labels, and major labels. The criteria for to be a major label, according to the Association of Independent Music, is you need a 5% of the world share in distributed media, which also includes music videos, as well as recorded songs, and a multinational presence. The four major labels are Sony, BMG, they're one group together, EMI, Warner Brothers, and Universal. As you can see on this graph, it's obvious that most of this is the Nielsen sound scan from 2006, seeing which labels had the most shares in the music industry, and it's obvious that the major label has more money flowing through. The major labels have more money flowing through them compared to the thousands of indie labels. The pros and cons for a musician on a major label is that there's a possibility to make thousands and millions of dollars actually. The music's going to be distributed to everybody. It's going to be advertised. They're going to shove it into people's faces any way possible. And just the money aspect is much greater on a major label. However, a musician signed to a major label usually has restricted creative freedoms. The label will control what music's released for the sake of profit. It's also, if a band does not sell enough records, the major label would want every dollar that was placed into a band back, plus a profit. So if they do not make any money, the major label just drops them off, and they would make more money working at 7-Eleven, spending a year touring and recording. For the consumer, they have the major labels can provide the music. It's easy to access, and it's convenient to find. The downside is a consumer is sometimes screwed over by the Recording Industry Association of America, which has the noble goal of stopping piracy, but is ignorant to the fact that piracy actually helps the music industry through marketing. One example would be Eminem's Recovery album. Thousands and thousands of people downloaded it before it was officially released, and it built up a hype, and when the album was actually released, it went and sold millions of copies, and it was a financial success. Also, the major labels focus on singles over an album, so they know they can make more money selling 2 songs rather than a whole album of 12 songs. So it's usually just a couple songs are focused. And yeah. On the flip side, for indie labels, the musician and the label works together for each other's benefit. They split the profits, like normally 50-50. And so all the money that the musician makes, the equal amount of money a label will make. The musician usually has full creative freedom on their releases, and are usually backed by their indie label no matter what they release. The downside is they don't have the money backing them like they would on a major label. they can't advertise, they usually limited pressing, and a musician normally has to fund their own tours. For a consumer, the lack of distribution and advertisement makes the music harder to find, but through some digging and thanks to the internet, it's easier to find. They don't have to deal with the RIA because most indie labels are not members of this association. And the creative freedom that an artist has, and this is subjective, but could be preferred over the pop acts of major labels. And that's the differences between the two labels and how they affect the consumer and the musician.